Good morning. As you know, we're going to be talking about technology and independence. But to get to there, I need to share my story because technology has had a large impact on me.
While I received good enough grades to get into college,
Schooling was never very important to me. It was all sports, sports, sports. My physical appearance became the most important thing to me. I could have even resembled somebody from the old MTV show The Jersey Shore. Their motto was GTL, Gym Tanning Laundry. That was me. The accident that left me paralyzed from the neck down even revolved around being active and playing sports. A friend of mine and myself were out playing golf one day, and we decided the loser of the round would have to jump in the lake.
and as you probably figured out, I lost. This was something I was actually really looking forward to. I thought it'd be a funny story and something I could share afterwards. As I put on my swim trunks, I thought I had it all. Good friends, good health, a good job, and a hell of a lot of fun living my 20s with no regrets.
In the half second it took my spine to crush as I hit the bottom of the lake on those rocks, my life and my loved ones' lives were about to change.
The fact that I'm sitting in front of you could even be considered a miracle. When I dove off that dock and knocked myself unconscious, I was left floating face down for several minutes. Luckily, a lady happened to be coming by walking her dog at that moment. I often wonder what she must have been thinking. What was out there in that lake? A piece of driftwood, the Loch Ness Monster, or maybe even a dead body? Well, luckily, she noticed it was me and came running in, fully clothed, to drag me out of the lake.
The doctor residing over my care wanted to ask my mom if he could ask me if I wanted to continue to live. This was only just a couple days after I'd suffered a traumatic accident. I couldn't believe he'd ask her that. I mean, what must have she been thinking? You know, I'd like to think that if the doctor did ask me if I wanted to continue to live, I would tell him to kick rocks. You know, he was really worried that I wouldn't have brain function from drowning, and would I want to live a life as someone who was paralyzed from the neck down?
Well, it turns out my brain still functions, at least I think it does. I went skydiving a few months ago, even though I'm already paralyzed, but I struggled with a really, really high fever at first when I was in the ICU. And this is the first time I've ever had a high fever. And I had some crazy dreams and hallucinations. At one point, I even thought I was on the Star Trek bridge talking to Spock. Crazy. I don't think that happened, but maybe.
I would say the next thing that happened was probably the most profound moment of my life. Like I mentioned, I had a suction tube that went down my throat, and every day the respiratory therapist would come in and she would do this suction routine to, clear out my lungs. The tube would go down my neck, the water would come out, just really standard, day after day. Well, one day she came in, said hello, said, "Hey Tyler, we're gonna do your suction routine." And I said, "All right, that sounds great, let's do it." Well, what happened was, when the tubing went down my neck, it hit a nerve in my neck and my heart stopped. And just like that, I was back. The light switch had came back on. Still in shock, I was saying to myself, "I do not want to die. I do not want to die. I do not want to die."
I was in shock, but I realized that I was so happy to be alive, and I really needed to take full advantage of my second opportunity.
When this all started to change and the narrative of my story changed was when I figured out that technology could help me be independent. The deacon from my church, Jose Blakely, came over and we would catch up, watch sports, and just, talk about stuff. And he could kind of tell that I wanted more in my life than just watching television. And so he asked me, he goes, "Tyler, why do you want to do so much with your life, but all you do is watch TV? Why don't you ever go on a computer?" And I said, "Well, it's too hard. The computer takes up too much space in my room. It's too hard to control. It's just difficult. I don't want to do it. And he goes, well, I work at Microsoft, and why don't we get you a Surface tablet and we can go ahead and mount it to the wall in your room so it doesn't take up much space. I still remember when I got that computer. It was like the clouds in my brain were separating and the sun was shining through. I couldn't get off that computer for months. I regained my love for baseball. I was reading baseball blogs. I would go back online and go on Facebook, social media, and it just really re-energized me. It gave me something to do, something I enjoyed doing, something other than just watching TV. And not long after that, my brother researched and found out that using an Xbox One and a Kinect, I could also change the channels on my television by voice.
So now, controlling all of these devices, I had really found a purpose, and that was to be independent, to see what I can take back in my life through the use of technology. I even think this purpose helped me get off the ventilator with a reinvigorated energy to be independent. While all this was happening, my mom was looking for a house that I could live independently in, because now I had the tools with technology to make that happen. And with no arms or legs, living independently is incredibly difficult, as you can imagine. But as I mentioned again, I had a purpose now, and I was not only able to figure all of these technology things out, it was something I enjoyed incredibly. This was a problem I was ready to solve. I researched and found ways to control my lights, open and close my door, control my television, adjust the temperature of my house, all by just the use of my voice and using my mind. What a feeling it is. 5 years ago, sitting in my dad's living room, watching ice skating, thinking that this was going to be my life. This is what the next 50 years were going to be like. But with technology, I'm incredibly proud to say I can live on my own and do all of these activities that I thought I had lost. The gift of the human mind is an incredible thing. It's something we all have. And it's something that I thought, when I lost it all, I thought I had lost it all. But what I didn't know is I actually had gained the realization that I still had my mind. And so rather than putting all of my time and energy into my physical appearance, I had now decided to put it into my mind. And that leaves us here. Thank you.